Before I start the video, I would like to give a massive shout out to my Patreons who have been supporting my channel. If you would like to check out my Patreon and receive early access to some very exciting videos coming soon, then please click the link in the description below. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Nerd Den here once again, and in today's video I am going to be talking about the plot of 73 Yards, which was the 4th episode of Doctor Who Season 1. Or Series 14, or whatever you want to call it, because there's some disputes about, what this is called and all that, even though it's officially marketed as Season 1, so I'm going to be respectful, and that is where I am going to lay my hat in terms of where it's going to be and stuff like that. So, yeah, with that being said, let's talk about this 4th episode, because there's been some very interesting reactions online. There's a few people that are generally confused about the point of this episode, and I'm going to take it from the perspective of someone that has watched it a couple times now, so I'm going to try my best to explain the plot of the episode because it is a little bit crazy. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into it, because blimey, it's a bit of a wild episode. Okay, so the episode begins with the Doctor and Ruby landing in Wales on a cliff top, and yeah, long story short is the Doctor steps on some ancient witchcrafty symbol and breaks it. And Ruby picks up a note and starts reading it, and says something along the lines of "Rest in peace, Mad Jack." And once she reads this out, the Doctor vanishes. The Doctor disappearing is actually never explained in the episode why this is the case, but Ruby then notices a mysterious woman in the distance, who we do get an indication on who she might be in the future. But anyway, so this woman follows Ruby all the way to a local village, but before she gets to the local village, Susan Triad, played by the Susan Twist, yes, the ongoing character that keeps on appearing in every episode so far, has an appearance in this episode, and she approaches this mysterious woman that is following Ruby, and she runs away screaming, which was a bit of an interesting one. Gives me the Curse of Clyde Langer vibes, to be honest. But so Ruby arrives at the village and she stays at the pub for at least a couple of days, but while she's there, one of the long-term customers ends up getting freaked out when he approaches the woman during the night, and he runs away, and Ruby gets kicked out of the pub as a result, because obviously the pub owner is losing business. So yeah, there is that element of a curse. Whenever someone approaches this woman, they run away from Ruby. So what is this person saying about Ruby? It's obviously about Ruby, because they look at Ruby's direction and then they run, but that is never explained either. And apparently Russell T Davies said, it was either in an interview or in Doctor Who Unleashed, I actually haven't watched that yet, but that is down to viewer interpretation. So yeah, we're never going to find that out, unfortunately, but it is something negative about Ruby that does cause them to run away in fear. But moving back into the actual episode itself, things do take a turn when Ruby, she gets older, and she gets, into relationships and stuff like that. Life is progressing, but she's always distracted, and that's what her dates point out. It's like she's there, but she's not there. She's always distracted by that woman that is literally 73 yards away from her. But this all changes when she reaches 40, and she notices the name Mad Jack in the general election. How very fitting for current times, and it is Roger Ap William who is running for Prime Minister. Nearly got that wrong there. Just edit that one out. But he's running for Prime Minister in the general election for the Albion Party that promised to make a bolder Britain. And the Doctor previously alluded to this Prime Minister being the worst one in UK history. So Harold Saxon, you haven't got to worry, mate. You were the master and you removed 1/10 of the population, but you're not the worst Prime Minister, according to the Doctor. So, amazing. But anyway, so Ruby decides she realises that this woman must be following her in order to change history and to prevent this nuclear war from happening. And after Roger is elected as Prime Minister, he's due to make a speech at the Cardiff City football stadium, and she uses the 73-yard rule and essentially allows the woman to be near the Prime Minister, and he freaks out and he runs away, and because of the rash decision of whatever that woman had said to him, he decides to stand down as Prime Minister and refuses to give a statement, and history corrects itself, and there's no nuclear war. So, yeah, it looks like, history's back on track, and Ruby's going to be all good. But no, she gets older without the Doctor, and she is, in the future, 40 years later, in a hospital bed, and, she's, heading towards the end of her life. And she's getting comfortable, and she turns the lights off and stuff like that in a very sci-fi-esque hospital. But then once the lights are off, that mysterious woman is there, and she gets closer and closer as the lights begin to flicker, and then she puts her arms out to embrace the woman, and it fades to black. And then we get a nice little transition to the opening scene, but from the mysterious woman's perspective, and it is heavily alluded to that the woman that was following Ruby was in fact Ruby, which is insane. So essentially, there's a whole paradox here, or a whole loop essentially of Ruby trying to help Ruby, or prevent Ruby from creating, or Ruby and the Doctor creating this alternative timeline, and it works because Ruby points out to the Doctor that he shouldn't step on the witchcraft symbol, and the Doctor therefore points out to Ruby not to pick up the letter and read about it, and it prevents the events of the episode from happening. And yeah, the woman, after all this, she vanishes, so we don't actually know for sure what's going on. Is she going to reappear in the later part of the season? Who knows? But it does make things very interesting for the future of Ruby, because, yeah, she has the power to essentially change timelines now. What's going on here? But Doctor Who really has dabbled with the supernatural part of storytelling, and especially with the events of the 60th anniversary, such as the Giggle, and then obviously the Devil's Cord, etc. Doctor Who is moving away from the sci-fi genre, and it is adapting more supernatural elements. So it'll be very interesting to know what happens with this moving forward. 73 Yards was a bit of an interesting tale to be told. Didn't really have a proper ending, and I am still scratching my head at it, but I guess we'll have to see if any of it is picked up later in the season or in the next season. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If you are new around here, please click that like button and subscribe for more nerdy content, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for all the support. Take care, love you all, and peace.